grant, so you know that the farms are putting their skin in the game too.
Interesting.
Oh, good. I'm glad you're on. Hi, Lee.
Good morning. We're good?
Yep.
Good morning. Call to order the Thursday, February 19th meeting of the Facilities and Infrastructure Committee. And welcome everybody. And we've had some changes with the new legislature, and I want to welcome our new committee members, Dan Wakeman, Judith Hubbard, and John Hunt. Welcome back, Randy Brown. And we haven't met in 2 months, and so we've got kind of a full agenda this morning. And one of the things, I talked to a few of the department heads, and I'm glad that we've got so many here. It's a good opportunity to introduce yourselves and introduce ourselves to you, and kind of set the pace for the year coming ahead. And couple things I just mentioned to our newer members. This really isn't gray, this is silver. You know, we're a silver committee. We're the builders and movers. So when the other committees start telling you their strengths, we know what ours are. But are there any changes to the agenda? If not, public comment. I've got 3 blue forms here. And anybody that wishes to speak, you can fill one of these out, and I'll take them in the order that they came in. I think most of the speakers, all of the speakers have been with us before and spoken under privilege of the floor, so I'm going to waive the rules for speaking. Just remind that we've got a 3-minute time limit. And let me start with Diana Cole. Hi, Diane.
Hi. For those who are new here, I'm a native Ithacan, and I've been working on this project for about 3 years to get rid of sign clutter. And so to sort of update, like you said, we haven't talked in a couple months. Actually, Nick has taken me to Bill and working on Coddington Road and all the driveway signs, and I really appreciate that there was a lot of detail around that, but I'm still not given a reason as to what their purpose is, what they expect to accomplish. I don't know if you have something to say about that.
We did a survey, we'll go down through there and look at all the locations, and a lot of those, there are hills and corners and dips. And like I said before, they've all been put in for a reason. And there's still driveways there, and
But what will the signs do? Because the people do not.
Diana.
People do not slow down.
We don't do an interchange here, but
okay.
We will, you know, ask Nick to report to us from time to time on his efforts to address the concerns you've raised with us.
Because I think the objective is to slow the traffic down, I guess, but it doesn't do that. I mean, I lived there for 9 years. And actually, you can see, even though there's hills, you can see ahead really well. So anyways, I appreciate that he paid attention to that, and actually is taking down 2 signs in Brooktondale that are unnecessary. So I really appreciate that. Also, Mark Verbonik, I don't know if you know who he is. He's the Assistant Superintendent of Public Works. I spoke with him, and he was really actually supporting this thing about getting rid of sign clutter. It's also because the actual signs are toxic to the environment, and I think a lot of people don't know that. But he was very supportive, and he referred me on to Natalie Model, who is in the engineering department, and we had a very good conversation about her actually. She says she's going to take a more critical eye as to why some of these signs have been coming up more and more in the last 2 years. So that's very hopeful too. So I think that's pretty much the update. I don't know if people have some questions for me.
No, I thank you for listening to the suggestion that a lot of these are related to the state highways and roadways as well, and that you've reached out to get clarification there.
Right. And actually, we do have some leeway as to whether we follow the New York State. And actually, you know, we are a sanctuary city, and I was hoping we could be a sanctuary city to get rid of sign clutter. That'd be awesome. We can have some leeway, so it's great. Thank you.
Thank you, Diana. And can I move on to Amanda Kirschgeshner?
Good morning. It's like you don't have to dress up to come to the ledge. So I am here today just to continue to implore you to not break ground on the Center of Government building. I understand that bonding large infrastructure projects is how our retirees get paid across the country. So I know that the bonds need to be paid first. If we are going to be bonding any infrastructure, I strongly suggest that we bond infrastructure that we're absolutely required to have and maintain, like our public safety building, which is in desperate need of update and renovation. I know that it would allow the Sheriff's Department a lot more, or I guess the Corrections Department a lot more bandwidth for keeping up with state rule changes. I know that Raise the Age has created a lot of disruption up there. They need ways to house folks under the age of 21 separately. It could also give them the space and capacity to house folks probably involved with wellness court separately. I never thought I'd be advocating for a new jail. Jails aren't going away. It's something we're legally required to have, and I would strongly encourage you to prioritize that project and our bridges, our roads. I know that the county's doing the best job that they can, but there are projects that are way, 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 way more essential than a cog right now. So if you're going to bond anything to future taxpayers here in Tompkins County, please make sure that it's essential first. Thank you.
Thank you, Amanda. Your concerns and comments are duly noted, and I know that it is a goal of the legislature to come to some long-term resolutions as far as space and planning for the years ahead. And there are a number of legislators that do want to see the public safety building acted upon as well. So how we fold this all together and look at it from a long-term finance standpoint is of concern. Thanks. I also have Bridget Huberman, and I apologize if I pronounce the name incorrectly, and I note here to Tompkins County Public Library, or exterior is a subject.
Yes, exactly, and you pronounce my name perfectly.
Thank you.
Again, Bridget Huberman, and I come to you as probably just about a lifelong resident of Tompkins County. I grew up in Trumansburg and have lived in the city of Ithaca for like 45 years. Can you hear me okay? Growing up in Trumansburg in a family with few means, the public library was so important to me, and it was not just a place for books, but it was a place for belonging. And that may even have seeded my lifelong commitment to community literacy and family literacy. What brings me here today is not the value to be found inside the library, but the outside of the library, our Tompkins County Public Library. I come to you really with dismay and concern that's been growing every time I drive by the corner or drive by on Green Street. I passed you some visuals, accompaniment, just so you could see when we drive by, we don't slow down. Well, we have to slow down some, but it really gives you an idea of how we've let it deteriorate, really. So just reminding us how much we pride ourselves as in a lifelong education and in education in our community. And the condition of the library really says what we value as this center and cultural center and life center. And it is more than just for patrons. We have bus riders who come there every single day. We have students who come by, and we have people who come by who are thinking about, will I want to make Tompkins County my home? So we send them a very loud message about what we value. And so I come to you asking, not wanting to judge the past, but wanting to really understand what the plans are for the future and where this fits as a priority, and just to advocate for our community in that way. And I want to ask you to keep in mind that our public library is a beacon of hope, and that as we go into and think about what we value in our community, that our community deserves better from us, and that you are the guardians of so many things, and the guardian of the Tompkins County Public Library in the center of the city, and as our central library in the center of our county. And we're dependent on you. And then to close, many of you all around know Cal Walker, and I often invoke the lesson I've learned from him many times over, that he'll just nod and say, you know what, if it's important enough, you'll find a way. And so I invoke Cal Walker to all of us to say, if this is important enough, we'll find a way. Thank you.
Bridget, thank you. And your concerns as well are noted. I appreciate the photographs. And I know that Legislator Brown has mentioned in recent months the exterior of the library is an area that we ought to take some time and focus on, and our Director of Facilities is here, and we will follow up on this. So thank you. We have the minutes of the December 4th meeting of the committee. Are there any changes or corrections? If not, could I have a motion to approve those? Randy moves, second by Judith. Any discussion? All in favor? We're all here. We can vote by hand. Thank you. Motion carries. Chair's report. We've got a full agenda, and there'll be some introductions here, and to the department heads. I may raise a stray question as we go along, and don't think that I'm trying to put you on the spot. It's more for providing some information to the new committee members as we familiarize them with your operations. So I'm pleased that the Department of Recycling and Materials Management is now under the fold of facilities, or has returned to facilities and infrastructure. And is there anybody here today representing Recycling and Materials Management? And I know we've got a resolution as well.
Lee, do you want to do the appointment for the advisory board first?
Thank you. I skipped right over that. I'll give you a second to get prepared here. We've got appointments, an appointment, and I'm going to ask for an addition as well to the Air Service Board. One for Kurt Foreman, William Kurt Foreman, and he's representing Ithaca Area Economic Development for a term expiring December 31 of 2028. We had a vacancy appear at the end of the year, and recommendation for Rock Hall to serve on the Air Service Board as an Ithaca College representative. And take a motion.
Yep.
Would you like, Dan moves, is there a second? Judith, any discussion? If you want to discuss the individuals, we would have to go into executive session, but I don't think there's anything here. If not, all in favor of these appointments? That motion carries unanimously. Thanks, Dan, for pointing that out. Recycling and Materials.
Great. Good morning. Thanks for for including us here. We're looking forward to working with you all on the F&I committee. I'm Kat McCarthy. I'm the Deputy Director of Recycling and Materials Management. Leo Riley is our director and was unable to make it today, so he apologizes for missing that, and he's also looking forward to working with everybody. I understand that our peak presentation was submitted or circulated ahead of time, so you might have some background information, and I'm happy to answer any questions regarding that. I also had a couple updates to share, if that's
Please do.
great. We've been pretty busy working on planning for our capital projects. Coming next month, we anticipate bringing you an award of bid for our environmental monitoring services at our 2 closed landfills. Additionally, one of the capital projects that we anticipate going out to bid next month is for our leachate system at the closed landfills. So cleaning the conveyance lines, testing and monitoring the tanks, adding remote monitoring to it. And what did I miss here? And a gate valve replacement at the Caswell landfill leachate system. We also anticipate bringing forward or moving forward a bid for our facility, our SWC Recycling and Solid Waste Center capital project in April. And that's going to include updates to the vestibule. There's been water infiltration. It's an all-glass vestibule. So there'll be some updates with that. Addition of gutters to the front of the building to help manage that water infiltration and eliminate it, as well as replacement or removal and infill of exhaust fans that are on the roof that have not been used for a number of years. So those are a couple of things we've got coming on. And the other thing I wanted to mention was our local laws. We have been working with legal counsel for a year plus on reviewing our 30-year-old Chapter 140 local laws around solid waste. And we're about 80% there with a draft revision to propose. We'll be meeting with Maury in the beginning of March to kind of discuss how that will be moving forward, and we'll certainly be keeping everybody updated and bringing materials forward as advised by Maury.
Kat, thank you. Previously, recycling and materials management was under the peak committee planning. And is there any guidance you're looking for from this committee at this point? We thank you for sending out the information previously.
Yeah, absolutely. I think let us know if there's anything you want us to be aware of. I think at the moment, I mentioned a couple of the things that we anticipate we'll be bringing forward over the coming months. So just to give you a heads up on what you might be seeing from us. And if there is anything you need, please don't hesitate to reach out.
Thank you, Kat. Any questions from the committee? Dan?
I see we have a resolution here, and I was just looking for a little bit of explanation on that. I looked through that, and I couldn't quite wrap my head around it.
Why don't we put that on the floor and have a discussion?
Okay, well, do you want me to move that now, or do you want to take questions from Randy before I move it? All right, well, then I'll move the resolution.
Okay, Dan is...
This is resolution for budget amendment, Department of Recycling and Materials Management, transferring paper bag reduction fee revenue, ID 13882.
Thanks, Dan. Is there a second to that? Second by Judith. And we'll ask Kat to give an explanation and take questions.
Excellent, thanks. So through a New York state law and accompanying local law, Tompkins County charges 5 cents for every paper bag used in certain elements like grocery stores and whatnot. 3 cents approximately of that money comes back to the county. Our department manages that and uses that as required by law for distribution, for purchase and distribution of reusable bags to individuals and communities with fixed and low income. So this is funding that this program's been in place, I think 2020 is about when it started. We've been getting in money year over year. Last year we transferred funds from the budget from previous years to kind of clean everything up, and we spent around $63,000 on this initiative last year. We did have some funds for bags that were ordered in October they had it back ordered. So there's a portion of this money is actually for bags that we are expecting in March. And then the remainder will be utilized for the purchase and administration of that initiative. You might have seen there's a TCAT bus circulating right now that has an ad on it encouraging folks to utilize reusable bags, reminding you to bring your own bag. So I think that's a little bit about the initiative. And I think one thing to note is just that because of the way the budget works, the money that comes in must be earmarked and specifically used for this. And so each year we get by quarter the money coming in from the bags that are purchased. And so usually the fourth quarter funding, we don't know until later in the year, if not the beginning of the next, well, we wouldn't know until the next year how much money comes in. So we would expect to be bringing some form of resolution with a smaller transfer moving forward annually.
I'm assuming you've done this previously.
Yes, yep. Yeah, this program's been in place for a couple of years now.
Hi, Judith.
Thanks, Kat. I'm impressed by how much money this is. Last year, I was listening to one of the meetings, and you talked about this new initiative to advertise on TCAT buses, and frankly, I thought that was very clever because it simultaneously achieves the goal of the program and it moves some of this money into another useful pot at the county. But here I see advertising is listed as only $3,000 out of the $72,000. Is that how much money is being spent on TCAT advertising?
So the advertising with TCAT just started last year, so it's new. I would anticipate we would be doing some more, and this money is in addition to what was already budgeted for the department for the year. So that would be those funds plus what's in our existing department budget for it. And we are looking at utilizing staff time through some of that as well. So trying to find ways to encourage reduction before people are purchasing the bags. I believe in a past meeting we had noted that we would have expected, because this has been in place for a number of years, for the amount of funding coming in to go down year over year as people get used to bringing their own bags, may not be purchasing as many paper bags, and we just haven't seen that decrease yet. So it is something we are still looking for, trying to see how can we continue to support that bring your own bag initiative so that people don't need to spend the 5 cents.
Thanks. And do you find that we actually have a need in the low-income communities that the bags are distributed to for more bags? Because I feel like we have a pretty big glut in reusable bags at this point in the community. At Reuse, they just have bins of them that you pick up when you buy something. Would it be possible, if there isn't that much of a need, to transfer more of the funding into creative alternative solutions? Advertising is one. I wonder if we could put money towards a mural encouraging people to reduce bag use. That's also something we often support in the community.
Definitely an interesting idea for the mural and something we can look into. We are trying to find creative ways and think through how is this being utilized. I will say that a number of the bags currently are being distributed through partner organizations. And so, for instance, food pantries really appreciate getting these bags and being able to distribute food in them. So they are definitely the folks that are, arranging to get these bags and to get them out into the community. We definitely hear very positive things about that. On the other hand, we do see that there is quite a few bags in the community. Another piece that we look at is trying to make sure that these are quality bags, recycled content, that type of thing, so that we can ensure that, they have a long, useful life as well.
Dan.
Just a trivial question. These bags are, I've seen someplace that the reusable bags are supposed to be rated for 20 uses. Great, love it, I do it. I don't know if I get 20 uses out of it. Any stats on how often these are actually, on average, reused?
That's a great question. I would have to look through the procurement materials for the bags that we distribute. I want to say that it's more than 20 uses as far as what it's rated for. Our bags are rated for a certain number of pounds, et cetera. How much the average bag is getting reused, I don't think we have any of those in-house stats, unfortunately.
No, I was just curious if there was any way to collect that information.
Mm-hmm. something to think about for sure.
Any further questions on the resolution? If not, shall we vote? All in favor of the adjustment? Are there any opposed? And the motion carries. Thank you. Did you have something for?
Kat, welcome to F&I. I'm glad you're here. I mean that. Missed not being on peak, so this is great. You started a program, I thought it was last year, maybe it was this year, on mattress collection. Could you talk about that a little bit?
Yes, so in our budget for 2026, we included a fee for accepting mattresses for recycling at the Recycling and Solid Waste Center. We are still planning on moving that forward. It got hung up a little bit with some contractual components. And so the idea is that folks will have the option, once it's put in place, to bring in mattresses. They can pay the $30 fee for recycling, or they can dispose of it as trash. If they pay for it to be recycled, it will get sent to a facility where they actually take it apart and recycle the components of the mattresses.
Thank you.
Judith and Dan.
What is the fee for disposing of a mattress as trash on average? I mean, I know that it depends on how you bring it in, but what do you think the average person pays?
Sure, so if you're paying by weight, our minimum at the facility is $20. It's a $20 minimum for the material that comes in. So it really depends on how much your mattress is weighing and kind of the components, but otherwise it's $106 a ton.
Dan.
I know the Village of Dryden has a annual program to collect mattresses and overstuffed, stuffed furniture and appliances. That's the village's program, but there isn't any way that, or any reason that shouldn't dovetail into what you do. So the village collects it, and the village would then come up to the county and say, we drop it off there, yeah?
Yeah, absolutely. If it's a clean mattress that's source separated, that'll be something that could go into that initiative. So if that was something they wanted to work on, we'd be open to collaborating or understanding better.
That's an interesting point. I know the Village of Groton over the time has done other materials, not necessarily upholstered furniture or mattresses, but there are some partnering opportunities with our public works departments out in the municipalities. So something maybe to talk through with Leo and consider.
Yeah, absolutely. We can bring that back and talk about that.
We all have problems with things being left by the roadsides and in people's yards and abandoned. I've had mattresses put out behind one of my commercial properties, and it's a frustrating process when that happens to try to figure out what to do with it.
Yeah, absolutely. And that bulky material can be challenging. We do have the illegal dumping that we monitor. So if it's things that are just showing up, that's one thing. But then the materials that, might be a little bit bulkier. We do have some support for local cleanups as well in our budget.
Good to hear. Thanks, Kat.
Great. Thank you.
Further questions for recycling? Judith?
I know I asked you this at peak, and I'm just hoping we can follow up. I'm hoping that we can increase composting in the schools. So if that's something you're interested in pursuing, please contact me, because I have some contacts in the schools.
Oh, terrific. Yeah, follow up on that.
Thanks for being with us.
All right. Thank you very much. We're looking forward to it.
I'm going to move on to the county administrator's report. I see Corsa is with us remotely this morning. There will be a resolution a little further down that Holly addresses as well. And part of what we wanted to discuss today, in addition to any report the administrator's office has, is a look at the 2026 departmental goals. Morning, Corsa. Are you connected with us here? Corsa, are you able to hear us? Why don't we return to the goals a little later on? And there'll be probably some discussion from committee on that. And I know that several of the departments are going to touch on their goals when they report today. Holly, could you work with us on item 8B, a resolution for authorization for a community mural on county outbuilding at 320 West State Street, ID number 13807. And Randy's moving. Is there a second? Second, Judith. Have you take it from there, Holly?
All right, thank you.
Holly Mosier, Deputy County Attorney.
Thanks, Lee. As our office was reviewing this resolution, it occurred to us that we're not aware of an actual agreement that the county entered into with either the person or organization who will be constructing the mural. In the past, when we've had murals on county buildings, we've had to have a contract in place that addresses liability issues as well as maintenance issues, deconstruction issues. And we're not aware that there is an agreement in place for this mural. So we're proposing just some added language in the resolved paragraph at the bottom. We're proposing that paragraph be amended to read, resolved on recommendation of the Facilities and Infrastructure that the Tompkins County Legislature authorizes the County Department of Administration to enter an agreement in form and substance satisfactory to the County Administrator permitting Ithaca Welcomes Refugees to manage and maintain the installation of a community mural on the 37 outbuilding shed located at 320 West State Street. So we're just changing that language, or we're proposing to change that language to allow the county to enter into an agreement that will set forth additional terms and conditions, again, on the issues of liability, maintenance, deconstruction, and also, continuity with the proposed mural. Once the mural is agreed to, which I believe it has been, that changes aren't made to it that may not be agreeable to the legislature.
Is that language acceptable to the mover and seconder? Okay, and fairly standard. And I think we're missing one other word, committee, Facilities and Infrastructure Committee.
Mm-hmm. Got it.
They've shared with us a picture of the proposed mural, and it's in the agenda. Any questions for Holly on that? Dan?
Standard language for, excuse me, standard language for other things in this type?
For example, the mural that's on the side of the History Center.
So you just lifted the language?
Technically, but what we're talking about is there has to be a formal agreement. Like there will be a full contract, but yeah.
We have representatives here from the Facilities Division and Buildings and Grounds. Did you want to talk a little bit about this project with the committee?
Well, I'm aware of it. We've spoke, actually, this is Layla that is proposing the mural on the side of the Staff House, but also the lower portion. If you can see the picture there, kind of the lower center is the Human Services Building. It's a shed. It looks actually beautiful. And so we have no problems with them putting the mural there. We did replace the doors probably a year ago, not knowing that they'd be putting a mural because we wanted to make sure that the surface is well prepared. We actually sided that building probably 2 years ago. Our experience has been wherever murals have been placed on any buildings, graffiti artists do not tag the buildings. As you see probably on the outside of this building, earlier this week we got tagged. That's increasing quite a bit over the last few months. But any building, there must be some code between graffiti artists. They will not tag where there are murals. Years ago, if some of you remember the old library on the corner, it would always get tagged that drum. But once we had somebody put a mural there, they never touched it. And we have beautiful murals in many of our county facilities here at Ithaca, so we would support that. We did talk a few months ago about an agreement, and so I know that Layla had no problems with that. So as I said, I wasn't directly involved in that part of it. Bridget was, so I'm not sure if there was language already developed as far as an agreement, because we've had that for many other of the murals that we've placed at other buildings.
I know several months ago, Randy mentioned some thoughts that he had about the exterior appearance around the building. This is certainly a wonderful enhancement, and perhaps to the concerns that were raised earlier by the public library, we could be thinking in that direction as well.
Actually, we met with the director yesterday, and actually we've met with our engineering team yesterday, walked the library, and he's interested in having a mural there as well. So we're walking around the building next week with them and our engineering team.
Thanks. Layla, is there anything you'd like to add while you're with us?
Sure, yeah, just to say that the development of this mural idea has been a really public collaborative process, which is something that we're very proud of, and we've worked on it over the past year to sort of get input from people living in the community who have a history of displacement themselves and from the general public, for example, at the Ithaca Festival. And the location for us is really important because it's such a central place where a lot of different people can see the mural. It's a mural that's intended to depict celebration and a positive message about the inclusivity and the spirit of welcome of Ithaca. And so we hope that it's something that a lot of people will enjoy seeing. And for us, at Ithaca Welcomes Refugees, the people we work with often use DSS, often use that building, and so it's a mural that they would see as well, and that would also help them to feel welcome. So it's a project that we hope you will be happy to approve, because we think it would bring a real message of positivity at this time, when there's so much division around the notion of immigration and people coming from other parts of the world. In terms of the maintenance of the mural, this is something that I discussed with Bridget, and we're happy to make an agreement about that. Yeah, I'm happy to look at any wording that you wish to come up with on that. Yeah, thanks.
Thank you. Judith?
I think the mural design is gorgeous. It really pops. It brings to life, I think, the mission of Ithaca Welcomes Refugees, with the contrast between the people and the background. Is the waterfall a real waterfall in the county? I'm looking at it, I don't recognize it, but I haven't looked at all of them.
Yeah, so I should say that this is a draft design. It was created by the artist as a kind of rough, these are the elements that will be there. It won't look exactly like this. And so I don't think the waterfall that you see in there right now is exactly how the waterfall will be, or it's not intended to be a particular waterfall.
Okay.
But I think the idea is more that waterfalls are part of the area. There's something recognizable that locates the scene. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. I grew up in Ithaca. When I was growing up, I don't think we had all these murals, and it was a real pleasure when I came back several years ago to see all this color and joy and art around the city and around the county. So I really look forward to seeing this one added on, and I hope that we can see a similar mural at the library. I'm recently appointed to the board of the library. I'm meeting with the director just after this, actually, so I guess I'll get to talk to him about it.
I'm glad you mentioned that, and I hope you can carry this conversation forward in cooperation with this committee. So good to know. Dan?
Passing along to the artist and the conception design here, I love it. All right. In particular, I love the color pop, and I love the multi-shade of gray silhouettes for the people. Fantastic. Okay. So pass that on. Blue butterfly. Part of me wants to move the blue butterfly down so you can see more of it, but I also acknowledge that the eye and intent may well be there to kind of hide that louver. I leave it to the artist to figure out which way to go on that argument. So.
Yeah, I think one thing that is important is that we're not allowed to paint over the louver.
Right,
so,
right.
Yeah, but yeah.
Any further questions or comments to the resolution? If not, shall we vote? All in favor with the changes noted? Any opposed? Motion carries. Leila, thank you for being with us. Urel, thanks for jumping in on that conversation.
Thank you very much.
Going back to the agenda, is Corsa with us? Why don't we?
Yes.
Hi, Corsa. Good morning.
Hi, good morning. Sorry about that. I've been running around trying to sort stuff out, so I'm a bit horrible.
We're having a little difficulty hearing you, Corsa.
Yes, my line is really bad, so I don't have a lot of items to go through. We asked for the that I wanted to talk through it, but because
You're breaking up on us there, Corsa.
Around, if we can, if like department are also around, they speak to the specific goal. So in terms of county administration, we are understand going to be working on information. So
We've lost you.
Oh, we really did lose him.
Okay. Well, maybe he'll be able to reconnect with us. And the bulk of what Corsa was going to discuss were the 2026 department goals. And I did want to return to those as a committee later on in the agenda. So why don't we keep moving at this point and possibly return to that. Transportation, and we have with us today our Chief Transportation Officer, Frank Doldo, and Courtney Horner, our Transportation Planner. And if it's all right with the committee, I want to do a reverse here before Frank does a presentation on the mobility update. We have a resolution under 9B authorizing the 2025-2026 New York State Department of Transportation Accelerated Transit Capital Grant Award for TCAT, Tompkins Consolidated Area Transit, Gadabout, and Tompkins County, and it's ID number 13811. Courtney's going to brief us on that. Is there a motion to put this on the floor? Judith, thank you. Moved and second by Randy.
Great, thank you so much. To start with the fastest description of transportation funding sources you will ever hear, we get funding every year from the federal government and the state. We get allocations from both. They give us money every year, and then there are sort of competitive grants that we can apply from. From the state, New York State Department of Transportation, one of these funding sources is what we have right here, ATC, which stands for Accelerated Transit Capital. So this is a funding stream that can be used for any capital project with a useful life expectancy of over 5 years. This funding covers 100% of a project. There's no local match needed, And additionally, it can actually be used as the local match. So most of our federal funding sources are 80% federally funded, 10% state, and then we need to put up a 10% local match. If it's a capital project, ATC funding can actually be used as that local match. So for these projects, the county doesn't have many projects that are capital over 5 years, so this is split between TCAT and Gadabout. Once we get this funding, TCAT and Gadabout, they meet, they decide what their needs are, how they want to split up the funding between the two of them. So our projects for this year, we got a total of $577,135. For reference, this is the same allocation we've gotten for about the past 4 or 5 years, down to the exact dollar. So the 4 projects are going to be split. 2 projects for TCAT. The first one is for a procurement and ERP software project, which is $105,000. The second project is for bus transmission and engine replacement for 8 buses. This is going to be $332,000. And then the 2 Gadabout projects. The first one is to fund the total cost of 1 Lot E bus, and then the second one is to fund a portion of the local share for 3 Lot G buses. The rest of the local share has already been covered by 2024 ATC, and so they just needed this last $20,000, so they didn't need to pay anything from a local share. I believe that is all.
Thank you, Courtney. Is this discussed with the TCAT board before it makes its way here, or is it coordinated through your office and representatives of those divisions?
I believe it's gone through the TCAT board, and it also needs to go through our Metropolitan Planning Organization, ITCTC.
Okay, John.
Can money like this be used by TCAT, for instance, to repair the roof on the building?
Yes, so this has been used in the past for roof repair.
I know that they've said they have problems with the roof.
Mm-hmm.
In their capital plan right now, if it isn't already out, there will be an RFP out to replace the roof.
Great.
Further questions from committee? Dan.
You surprised me with 8 buses, but I have no idea. Is that typical?
So these are 8 buses that they have, the 8 buses. It's just transmission.
Right, I understand that. I'm just wondering, do we typically need to replace engines and transmissions?
So I can tell you a useful life for a transmission is 6 years. A useful life for a bus is 12 years. So yes, short answer.
Randy?
That was a very good explanation of that, by the way. So the procurement and ERP software, is that the full cost of that, or is there additional cost for the ERP software?
That I am not sure off the top of my head, but I'm happy to get you the answer to that.
Okay. Is this new software or an update? Or?
Yeah, so they have, so ERP software is their enterprise resource planning software. It allows them to do their HR, their day-to-day kind of back-end software. I believe they have, I think, multiple softwares, and they're trying to consolidate it to have a cheaper and more efficient solution.
Sounds great.
Judith.
I'm trying to reconcile software with a useful lifespan of 5 years. Is this a one-time purchase of software that then you get to keep forever?
Correct. So there's different needs of when a software is operation and when a software is capital. For this purpose, ERP software and procurement, when they purchase a new software, they have it in the contract that it's a useful life of over 5 years.
Dan.
What software package do you know? And is this, because this is TCAT, is this managed by ITS or is it separate?
So it's managed by TCAT.
That's what, okay.
The county is the prime recipient of the funds,
Right.
and then we just transfer them to TCAT.
Yeah. But do you know what software package?
Do not know, but we can get back to you on that.
Remind me, how many buses? Roughly 40 that they're maintaining on the roads, and vans with Gadabout additional number? We're talking about a lot of transmissions and so on, and I appreciated that question because that folds into the maintenance on a fairly large division.
Yeah, so depending on the time of year, right now, TCAT according to FTA, has around 52 buses, but those 52 buses aren't on the road. I think there are around 30 to 35 buses on pullout. Gadabout is around 13 buses, but both are aged and both are doing a great job getting new buses in, every year, every 2 years.
I appreciate numbers like that. It gives us an idea of what the scope of service and the extent of maintenance that these agencies are up against. Any further questions? Let's vote on the resolution. All in favor? Are there any opposed? And the motion carries. Thank you. Ran into Frank the other day, who advised me that he had a presentation for us, and here it is. And we've been talking about the mobility plan for some time, and looking forward to the update.
Thank you. Before I get started, I'd like to introduce our team here. On the end, we have Reagan Partial, who is Associate Director of Go Ithaca. Nicole Ralston, Contact Manager of our One Call, One Click Center. Both of those agencies received the mobility management project through RFP. Courtney Horner, as you all know, my colleague in planning and sustainability, is a transportation planner. And I'm Frank. I work for Katie. So I promised the legislators last year that we're very excited, and the team has done a great job in year one of implementing the adopted Mobility Vision Plan 2024 through 2027. You'll see me in future meetings, starting with the next meeting, talking about and updating you all on pieces of the Mobility Vision Plan. This one right now is dealing specifically with our 2 mobility management programs. I would encourage you, when you have time, you notice a link, and I believe the clerks also sent the legislators the links on a great report that Courtney has done called the Mobility Management 2025 Impact Statement. So I encourage you all to look through that. It was well put together with data. And as you all know, data is what drives us to collaborate with, break down barriers, and move in a positive direction. So just to give an overview of all of this, our One Call, One Click Center in the Mobility Vision Plan is for Tompkins County residents to have one place to call, one website to look at, one app to click, to hopefully solve all their transportation needs. Our mobility manager, Go Ithaca, specifically focuses on outreach to rural, low-income, underserved populations of the county. That's what this vision is really focusing on, to provide access for all. Funding. 80% of this mobility management program is covered by the Federal Transit Administration. 10% is covered by the New York State Department of Transportation. And there is a 10% local match. But the 10% local match, based on the contracts in the RFP, is covered by Go Ithaca and covered by HSC. So there's no county taxpayer dollars involved in that. And now I'd like to turn it over to one of our team members, Reagan Partial, to talk about our 2025 data and where we're at and where we're going. Reagan?
All right, thank you, Frank. So yeah, I'm going to be focusing specific on Go Ithaca 2025 statistics. So just so you know, Go Ithaca is a transportation demand management organization. And like Frank said, we are the mobility management partners, and we are really trying to reduce transportation barriers, like he was saying, to increase access to affordable commuting options. But real quick, I would like to introduce my team because they're all here. If you guys don't mind standing up, I have Laura is our mobility manager. She's going to be the one I'm talking about the most today because she's doing a lot of our great work here. We have JaVale, who is our member services coordinator, and then our newest member, Reed, is our TDM program manager. Our director, Jane Brady, is actually going through some surgery stuff right now, so she was unavailable today, but she wishes she could be there. So in 2025, as you can see, we conducted 51 outreach sessions, and we were able to really focus on like rural communities and connecting with a lot of individuals, over 600 individuals in Tompkins County. We registered 732 new members just this year, and of those 700, 488 were easy access members. And this basically means that they are low-income residents receiving direct transportation support. So an example of that, just because I think sometimes numbers don't necessarily give us the full picture, we actually have a member who is very dear to all of us, I think, that we work with almost every 2 weeks. Unfortunately, this member is homeless, and she actually was keeping all of her belongings in a cart. This cart was very important to her. This is something we talked about every 2 weeks. And unfortunately, recently, this cart was stolen. But with the incentives that we're able to offer her, we were able to kind of chat with her about what some of those important items were, that maybe we could get those back to her, working on getting her a different cart that might work for her lifestyle. But all of these are incentives that we're able to do. So this is like a really direct impact with one specific member. But when you're looking at the 600, we're working with each one of those people individually to really fit their needs, right? So additionally, with all of that, we've also assisted 260 low-income residents with bus passes to ensure access to work, healthcare, food, and essential services. What distinguishes Go Ithaca, at least in our eyes, is that we really don't want to wait for residents to have to navigate these systems on their own. We are trying to conduct in-person outreach events so that we're there with them, eliminating barriers. They don't have to worry about internet access. They don't have to worry about traveling to an office. We're trying to come directly to them. We also are, like I've said, we're really trying to focus on those rural communities. So Groton, Dryden, I think Slaterville Fire Department, we've even, been with. We're trying to really get to all of these communities and really make an impact there. Enrollment and fare support, like I said, happen on site, removing all of those barriers. And we really, again, want to reach people who are maybe typically excluded from other transportation programs that are currently happening. Go Ithaca also supports carpooling and commuting alternatives. We're working very closely with Commute with Enterprise to help businesses get commuting options while also trying to give out emergency ride home passes. This is really important for us to reduce parking demand, but also really support the county's climate goals as well. So Go Ithaca is trying to demonstrate transportation equity and sustainability so that they can move together. In 2025, we expanded access, increased enrollment, and strengthened rural outreach. But as we move into 2026, our main focus is really, again, that rural outreach, strengthening partnerships that we already have, and also ensuring that cost is really not a barrier for those in Tompkins County. We are also excited to be expanding our travel training efforts to help residents build confidence with transit independently, because that is kind of a concern. And this is going to hopefully ensure that access to transportation translates into long-term mobility and self-sufficiency. But that's it for me. I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to Nicole to talk a little bit more about One Call, One Click. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Reagan. Thank you, Reagan. Good morning. I'm Nicole Ralston, and I want to also introduce my team. This is Stephen and Yamilka. Can we go to the next slide, please? Thanks. Yamilka is our transportation specialist focusing on clients for the One Call, One Click, and Stephen is our transportation specialist focusing on volunteer driver recruitment. So in 2025, the One Call, One Click Center has expanded quite a bit with our contract with the county. We have served about 25% more people with transportation needs compared to the previous year. As Frank said, we are really focused on serving underserved individuals, including low-income rural residents and seniors. Most people contact us by phone, but we also receive a lot of walk-ins, a lot for bus passes, which I'll talk about later. And we also provide assistance by text, email, and chat from our website. Another piece of our One Call, One Click Center is the FISH Medical Transportation Program. In 2025, we also saw about a 20% growth in that and the number of rides we provided through FISH. While most of our clients are seniors, we also do assist a number of low-income residents with accessing medical appointments through FISH. Recently, we had a client who needed a medical transportation ride and was denied by Medicaid, and it was actually too short of notice. We couldn't find him a driver through FISH, so I talked to Frank. This person was very distraught in my office, and we were able to get him a ride through Uber, and he was very appreciative. He had no other way to get to that appointment. It was a very important appointment to renew his benefits. Okay. Also in late in 2024, we began distributing bus passes, as I mentioned, through our contract with the county. It started out kind of slow, about 50 people or 50 passes a month we were giving out. It grew quite a bit in 2025 through a lot of outreach work with our team and with the Go Ithaca team. We're averaging about 260 bus passes a month. We started by giving out one-day passes to folks and then realized that we probably could offer some additional options. So we started last summer giving out 15 ride passes to folks who were coming into our office more frequently. So really just kind of providing that personalized approach of what the person needed, how many rides they were seeking through the bus. We also serve a lot of homeless individuals coming in. We are very centrally located on the Commons. We get referrals from Department of Social Services as well as the Code Blue Shelter. Just about 30% of the people coming into our office for bus passes did identify as either homeless or living in a shelter. While just over half of the people coming in were City of Ithaca residents, we also assisted a substantial number of people from outside the city and rural towns across the county in Newfield, Enfield, Dryden, Danby, Lansing, at least a few people from every area. The program continues to grow. Just in the past month, in January of 2026, we gave out 499 bus passes to 180 people. So still quite a few people coming in for that service, and we still continue to see the need. People coming in also have the advantage of connecting with our 211 staff through the One Call, One Click Center. So if they have needs like food, housing, health insurance, mental health needs, substance use, we have our resource database with all of the programs that we update and maintain to provide them any other information that they might be looking for. In 2026, we are really focused on, in addition to the bus passes and everything else I mentioned, is to really look at how we can expand the volunteer driver programs in Tompkins County. We know we currently have FISH that provides medical transportation, but we really want to be able to focus on meeting people's social determinants of health needs. We have formed a volunteer driver working group with a number of other organizations that have volunteer driver programs. And we're also looking to invest into a new volunteer driver operations platform that would allow us to coordinate and streamline our programs. So thank you so much, and I'm going to now turn it over to Courtney.
Great, thanks, Nicole. I'm going to talk a little bit about the Tompkins Transportation Scout app and website. This was first launched in April 2025, so it's been a little bit less than a year, but I'm excited to tell you all about all of the things we've done so far. Some of the features of this website, I'm not going to go super in depth, but there's trip planning, you can find carpool matches, there's a whole host of local transportation resources, and so this is kind of bringing together all of the different resources in one place that people can access. So again, as I mentioned, we launched this in April 2025 with a public launch event at the public library, which was successful. We had about 40 people there. In addition, doing outreach, getting it in all of the newsletters of all of the different municipalities across the county, working with organizations and other outreach to get people aware of this service. In addition to doing a lot of individual outreach, especially for people people maybe who are less technologically savvy, seniors, or just people who want to know how this resource can benefit them specifically and their needs. In addition, we've been doing a lot of app demos. I hosted a lunch and learn for Tompkins County employees in September where we did an app demo. We did a demo at our launch event, and we've been doing various other demos at libraries across the county. So far, about 350 accounts have been created. I do want to mention that you can use the service without creating an account, but this is a way we can track the people who have given us their email or address and kind of wanted to officially create an account. Of these people, we have about 12,000 trips that have been recorded. A trip is something from a point A to a point B. So in transportation, we're really interested on how people travel places. We're less interested in kind of taking a walk around the neighborhood or going on a community bike ride. We really want to know how people get to the places that they need to get to. So these trips include taking the bus, walking, biking, driving alone, carpooling. That's all encompassed in trips. So far, 75 emergency ride home codes have been given. This is a program that Reagan mentioned through Go Ithaca that people can get up to $75 off of an Uber, Lyft, or taxi if they need in an emergency. Through the app, you can get one free code, one trip if maybe they're waiting for their Go application to be processed. If it's the middle of the night and it's outside of typical business hours to call, they can go and they can do it right there and get their emergency ride home. Finally, we have 16 parking spots that have been saved per day. This is a metric that comes from when people create an account and they say, I drive alone to work every day. Then from using the app, they've recorded that they have taken the bus to that location that they said they used to drive to, and that's how we get that statistic. In 2026, we really want to focus on getting more people involved, having more accounts created. Increasing our carpooling, I think that's really an untapped resource in the county that we can get people to commute together. And then something I've really had the pleasure of doing is being able to work and talk to residents throughout this process, hearing what's working for them, what they want. And something that people have mentioned a lot of times to me is that they really want this kind of how-to tutorial, how to use different features that they can refer back to whenever they want to, as opposed to just getting it when they sign in. So we just actually released our first how-to video, how to use the trip planning feature. It's on the front page of the app, and so we're going to create more in 2026. The next thing I'm going to discuss is our key performance metrics and kind of how we're measuring success. So I'm going to do a bit more of a general overview since you've heard a lot of the successes already that we've been having from our partners here. But we wanted to create, when we first signed these contracts with the agencies, what performance metrics we wanted to measure, how we wanted to think if we were having success or how to improve. So some of the different categories include outreach, again, reaching as many residents as possible, going to senior housing, low-income housing, libraries, community centers, getting as many people who need bus passes, who need emergency ride home, access to the Easy Access program, just reaching as broad of a group of people as we can. Go Ithaca has launched a van pool program alongside Commute with Enterprise that gives subsidies to employers to allow their employees to van pool to work. And then finally, we talk a lot about the resources that are offering. We're getting people bus passes, getting people access to this app, but I think the resources don't do much by themselves unless people really know how to use them. And so focusing on travel training, walking people through actually how to get on the bus, how to ride it, walking through how to use the app, demos like that. And so those are the different things we've been measuring. And if you want to read the full performance metrics, that's in my report, that link you should all have as well. Now I'm going to pass it right back to Frank.
Thank you. I'm not going to go. We provided you with some testimonials that really make this mobility management program impactful to Tompkins County residents. But I want to talk more right now of where we're moving forward. So here's our next steps. Tompkins County does not have enough transportation modes in the county to meet the demand of getting people access. So that's why we're working very closely, and One Call, One Click's doing a great job, and Stephen, increasing the number of volunteer drivers and transportation modes in the county. One thing that we're really proud of, you might have heard about the SNAP benefits when They were going away, and TCAT did a great job with offering free bus passes. The team got together and figured out a mechanism where maybe we could help getting people food. So I worked closely with the commissioner of DSS, and we're in the process right now of signing an MOU with our partner, Love Living at Home, to have volunteer drivers for those that can't get out to get food, be able to deliver food right to their homes. So we're very proud of the team and the collaboration with Love Living at Home. We're going to continue to work together to make sure our metrics are going to be met. We're going to increase travel training to take away that anxiety. And the one part I'm hoping to accomplish this year is we're successful in getting $125,000 for First Mile, Last Mile, and Rides to Recovery, which I'll present Rides to Recovery next meeting. I just have to find the match. We worked with some consultants who did a great job putting together the template that focused on Tompkins County that I used in 2 other counties that I implemented those programs with. So we're really excited what the future holds for that. And right now, we'd like to open it up to questions. Happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Regan, Nicole, Courtney, and Frank, thanks for the presentation. I know 6 or 8 months ago you were here and gave us a little bit of the mobility vision and introduced us to the concepts of the last mile. And it's impressive to see the number of people that you've got engaged in this process. So I appreciate that update today. Is there any questions from committee on the presentation, what we've seen? Judith?
I'm going to get a reputation. I'm lucky that Frank spent an hour with me last week walking me through a lot of these things, so I'm coming with fewer questions than I might otherwise have, but you've managed to inspire some new ones. I remember some years ago I signed up for Go Ithaca, and I'm wondering, well, first, it felt kind of like a scam. Like, how can somebody sign up for free for something that just gives you a bunch of great stuff? So that almost made me hesitant to sign up because it didn't seem like it could be real. But I signed up anyway, and I'm wondering what it means. What does it mean to be a member? You know, I'm a member. I signed up, but I don't know how to access anything anymore.
Absolutely. I think that's a great question. You're not the first person. I'm sure you're not going to be the last person. So many members, it's kind of funny. I laugh because I get a lot of times they're like, "You're sure this is real? Like, this is a real thing?" Very much a real thing. At least I think. I've been doing it for 3 years, so I hope it's real. But yeah, so basically, and we're kind of trying to work on this at this point because Go Ithaca has been around for a couple of years, right? We actually started as a program with the Downtown Ithaca Alliance, and then we became our own 501c3 in 2023. And in that process, and we're actually, we're kind of growing our team a little bit more and trying to grow our capacity, and we're trying to kind of come up with a solution for some of our members that signed up so long ago and maybe don't understand exactly what they have available to them right now. But to also answer that question for you as a Go Ithaca member. There are 2 different types of membership that we offer. There is the regular membership and then the easy access membership. The only difference is that it's just income based. Currently, we are working, this is an ongoing process, but we are trying to figure out logistics around like lower income individuals and how they report that to us, again, because we want it to be accessible to those who might not have all the paperwork, right? Because that's definitely a possibility, especially with the homeless community that we have. So that is a thing, just to give you a little bit of background there, but also for regular members and easy access members, they have basically access to the same things. It just might be a little bit of extra help for easy access members, but we just real quick, we do memberships to the Ithaca Bike Share program. We give out immediately, they get 15 15 ride bus passes, I believe, and JaVale gets that to them immediately as soon as sign up happens. Again, if somebody reaches out and they're like, hey, I signed up forever ago and I still might need some of these things, or maybe I never received, something happened in the mailing process in the past where I didn't receive those things, we usually try really hard to work with those people to get them exactly what they need and all of those incentives. There's even things like, again, there's travel training. We can offer having a travel buddy to kind of come and help them get to where they need to be. For our easy access members, one of the biggest incentives that I love to let people know about is we have a $200 kind of budget for each one of those easy access members to purchase them any sort of transportation type needs, right? So for our member who had the cart, we were able to maybe purchase her a cart, but we were also able to purchase maybe gloves, boots, coats, hats, things of that nature, a bag, things like that. And we work with members every single day to kind of provide some of those things.
I guess my question is more about those all sound great, but if people get things when they sign up, what is the incentive to stay as an active member? If you're a regular member, is there an annual thing? Is there an account you can log into to see what you've done? Do you get new things? Or is it just like you signed up once and now that's sort of a checkbox and you move on and you get on a list?
I mean, it's really based on each individual member, really, I guess I'd have to say, because some people kind of just want that initial, like they sign up and they get that initial packet, and then maybe they might not need any more transportation help after that. But then if somebody needs more, or if they're looking to utilize more of what our program offers, we can then help them access those points. But it's really just based on what people are interested in, what their travel needs are. And when people sign up, we have those conversations with them, right? But again, we also recognize that somebody might have signed up back in 2020, whatever it was. And we're looking to kind of, like I said, we're currently working on a process where we can reach back out to those members, maybe kind of almost recertify them in a way to kind of get them back onto, like, this is what we're offering right now. This is what we can provide for you. Do you still want to even be a member, right? Because some people don't want to be a part of those things, right? And that's fine too. But yeah, so we're kind of working through that right now. It's something that is very much in the forefront of our mind, but it is a thing. There is kind of a gap of some of our members that had signed up years ago versus right now.
Okay.
Sorry. Yeah. Can I jump in for 1 second? I think what your question maybe is you're looking for the more tangible things. Ongoing for Go Ithaca, if you're a regular member, you can get 50% off all bus passes if you purchase it from Go Ithaca. From now, you signed up 3 years ago. If you want a bus pass now, you can get 50% off. The same goes for Gadabout passes. When Reagan mentioned bike share and car share, those things are continuing. You can get discounts on bike share forever, car share forever by being a member.
Okay, I don't know how I would do that, but maybe I could figure it out looking at your website a little longer.
No, I think, let me just interject here. You bring up a very valid point. So what I'm hearing from you is we need to find a way to better engage those people that are signed up for Go Ithaca. We need to have better communication, more consistent communication to let people know what benefits are there for them. And we need to let people know that it's not a scam that you might have thought it was. And one piece I'd like to reiterate on that is, Reagan, can you just let the legislators know here what other funding sources are helping support Go Ithaca's TDM program and the benefits that are being offered here?
Absolutely, yeah. So we currently are funded by a couple of major grants, right? Like this mobility management project is one of our larger grants, but we also are funded through the Climate Smart Communities grant, and that is, I believe, that goes into another couple of years, I believe. And then we also are working closely with TCAT and NYSERDA for the IETA grant. That also is very much, we're very much working on they have the prioritized community, I believe, or the service area. I think it just recently changed to service area is what they're calling it, but we're focusing on a very specific part of Ithaca and those members. But those are our major grants, and then of course we have a couple of smaller things, local things that are kind of helping us get smaller programs off the ground that we're working with.
But your point is well taken, so we'll bring back the team and try to get those issues resolved.
Thanks. I have one last question about Go Ithaca, which is when I looked at the sign up, it says that Cornell students and staff are not eligible. Is that, that was clearly a decision that was made on purpose. Would there be interest in trying to reach out to Cornell to get additional funding from them? After my meeting with the library director, I have a meeting for the County Cornell Working Group, so maybe I can bring that to them if that's
any
relevant.
support that you would love to give us in the Cornell way of things would be fantastic. We've had many meetings with Cornell. We've worked with, his name's gonna escape me, but I see his face. Their TDM person over there. We've talked with him quite a bit. It's mostly just been funding concerns, but.
Right. I can see why Cornell students are one category. Cornell staff are really part of our community, and so I'm a little concerned that they're on the exclusion list.
I agree with you. I think that, and I will let you know that there are a lot of members that work with Cornell, obviously, that we have worked with. This was a decision that was made by the director, basically just because there was, how do I want to say, that there just wasn't the ability to support Go Ithaca in the way that we would then be able to support the Cornell students back, or Cornell students and staff back, if that makes sense.
Frank, you mentioned a presentation for next month.
Yeah, I'm hoping to bring Rides to Recovery, just an update as another piece to the mobility management program to the group, just to keep them updated on what's going on.
Okay, Randy.
It's great to see a consolidated effort. This is great. I've watched it move along, so it's good. I'm focused primarily in rural, so appreciate hearing that. I would like to get some more information on the volunteer driver program so I could share it with people so they know what that really means. But I have a question. So on the free bus passes that we provide TCAT, don't we still get funding from the federal government for every person that rides on TCAT or not?
Yes, and I'm gonna try real hard not to go into the weeds. So I'll be real simple. Every fare-paying passenger that pays a fare of 30 cents or higher TCAT and Gadabout are entitled to what's called State Transportation Operating Assistance. For that, TCAT and Gadabout get $1.15 per mile and 68 cents per one-way trip.
So if we're giving out free bus passes, even though they're free, we're still getting some revenue?
They're not free. They're free to the resident, but we're still paying for those passes.
Okay, I got you. All right, thank you.
Well, thank you. Thank you all for your participation here today. Veronica, do you have a question?
I have a couple of questions if you'll let me. I know I'm not on the committee.
Yeah, I've got to do a time check here pretty quick. We've got about half the agenda items covered, but go ahead.
Okay. I'll ask them both, and you can be concise as you want. One is, Judith kind of got at this, but all of this transportation assistance stuff sort of often feels, maybe you and I have talked about this, Frank, like it is indicated for people who otherwise cannot get from point A to B. Whereas, for instance, I own a car. I could use that to go anywhere I want, anytime I want, more or less. But I think part of the goal of this whole thing is to have people like me not be only using their personal car all the time. Can you comment on how, like, car owners are desired to also plug into this? And then my second question is, I listened to the presentation on double speed on my way here, and I heard a lot about the individual benefits for Go Ithaca, but employers can also be members of Go Ithaca, right? Can you speak to that? And is Tompkins County an employer or a member?
Okay, so let me be concise, quick on that. The goal is to provide access for all. The point you bring up is on our to-do list. Right now, year one, we have to focus on low-income, underserved populations first. Once we get those barriers broken down and those demographics have access, then we'll move to the next steps in that. We are in the process, Go Ithaca is in the process of getting Tompkins County, getting outside employers registered as Go members for the benefits, but more specifically for the carpooling feature with Commute Enterprise, because one of the biggest transportation barriers is shift work when the bus is not in operation. This van pooling Commute Enterprise will hopefully solve that, but it's in its infancy stage.
Dan.
A question that I will not ask your answer for. I don't want to take time now. A comment and a question. I'm uneducated in this regard, all right, so I'm not familiar. But to me, it seems like there is a significant overlap and a blur between these three programs. And my question is clarity, but then my feedback is that needs to be differentiated and better communicated. I mean, if there is a differentiation specifically, or there's redundancy, right? So that's all. I don't need time now, but that's my comment.
No, I would encourage you, like the legislator did, is please come and talk to me. Happy to do that. I will let you know that real quick. Not going to answer it, but maybe the communication needs to be improved, but there is no redundancy.
Thank you, Frank, and we look forward to additional information next month.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Airport, next to the agenda, Roxanne Noble, our airport director, and Josh Nally, deputy director. And we have, as they're making their way forward, a resolution amending resolution number 2025-120, 2025-121, and 2025-123, Ithaca Tompkins International Airport, ID number 13864. And why don't we get that resolution on the floor before we ask Roxanne for any report she might have. Is there a motion on the resolution? Dan, second by Judith. Good morning, Roxanne.
Good morning, everyone.
And you have a resolution here amending previous resolutions.
I do, and I like to bring these ones because it's actually reducing the amount of funding. So what we try to do is we a few years ago tried to put our resolutions together, streamline the process. So when we put in the resolutions for capital projects that we get federal funding, state funding, and PFC funding for, we have an amount based on the application. When the FAA was reviewing them before they sent us the grant, they pulled a couple of things out, made some adjustments, which they can do. So it reduced the amount of the overall projects. So that would then reduce their amount, the state's amount, and the local amount. The state, when they sent us the contract for us to sign, they have in the actual amount, the adjusted amount. And even though our resolution stated not to exceed, and it can be different, the state needs a resolution copy that exactly matches the amounts. So this is the amendment to be able to send to the state when we sign the contract with the correct amounts. So I love that it's less. That I think is for the airport to come asking for less money. And we're not even asking for money, we're just asking for a resolution.
Questions?
If you need to know more about, what the projects or anything, Josh is here.
Questions for the airport? Judith?
So when I look at it, I see that each of these has the FAA share at 95%, the Department of Transportation share at 2.5%, and then it's the airport / PFC share. What is PFC? That's the local share, right?
Passenger facility charges, so it's money that's collected on tickets, so that it's set aside and can be used for capital projects that are airport improvement projects, AIP eligible. So these three are all AIP eligible, so that can come from that funding.
Okay, so it's like a subcategory of some local dollars. Right. Looks like this is a savings of a few $1,000s compared to what was previously agreed to. Okay, thank you.
Yep.
We had a lot of talks last year about the PFCs, and now we've got substantially new committee members, and maybe next month or in one of the subsequent reports, we might dust off our presentation last year about how the airport is funded and where the local shares come in, because the PFCs do come up frequently, and that's one area where you've got some significant control over the expenditures of those on operating.
Absolutely, and even I think it was last year, members of the legislature came up and we did a really in-depth, we actually had somebody from finance, somebody from CNS, and we really delved into the PFCs, because it is a unique way that the system runs, and it's part of my lovely Airport 101 A to Z finances, and I'm happy to do that at any time, but I'm happy to bring it to a committee as well.
Okay, thanks, Roxanne. Further questions on the resolution? If not, shall we vote? All in favor? Are there any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Anything you want to bring to us today? I know that we're probably going to have to delay a bit of the discussion on the goals for the year, but we know that you've got some long-term and short-term goals to toward the sustainability of the airport and increasing the amount of traffic and flights in. Maybe you've got something for us today.
We do. So, for 2026, and it's an ongoing goal for us, it's to, lower our CPE, which we've talked about, cost per employment, increase our air service, so that's a continuing goal. It's changing, it shifts, it moves, but that's, probably one of the main focuses. We have our capital projects, that we focus on those, and thankfully we are funded a large % of our capital projects from the FAA and the state. Our stats, I have them in from 2025. I haven't, vetted them completely yet, but, we actually had an average load factor of 75%, working on increasing that. The third flight from United is coming back in March. It was originally supposed to be just through May. They've extended it through June 7th, and that was on their own. And we haven't heard officially that they're extending it beyond that, but we're in the talks. It's a positive look. The flight is doing well. So we're continuing to work on that. Next week, Shauna Black, myself, and Corsa are going to Advocacy Day, New York Aviation Management Association Advocacy Day in Albany, meeting with state legislators, getting information out there. We think that's a great way to, keep the airport open, and NYAMA is a great benefit to, it's all about airports and how to keep them, in New York and keep things growing. I think that's my update.
You've shown us some graphs in the past on the employment, and I think, what did we get down to, about 50% during the COVID period, and you've grown back to a point. 75 is an encouraging number, and I know you've had some in the fall that were even 80% and higher when the new flights came in. So it's good to see the progress there at the airport.
It is, and we are an economic benefit to the community, and another goal that Josh and I have talked a lot about as well is getting back out into the community, going to things and sharing the information, because it is a benefit. It does help. It brings in revenue. It brings in taxes, and it brings people to the community. And when I interviewed for the director position 4.5 years ago, that was one of my main goals, was to bring people to Tompkins County. We have a lot to offer here. We have beautiful things for people to do, and that's still one of my goals, is working with the CVB and working with the chamber and marketing, reverse marketing, bring people to Tompkins County.
Thank you.
Yep.
Anything further for Roxanne? If you want to bring a little guide, and as we return to that discussion about the long-term goals, the acronyms and the 101 you referred to would be good to see.
Absolutely, I can bring that in March.
And that's good news about the flights being extended.
Excellent.
Thank you.
All right, thank you guys.
We move on to County Attorney's Office. Hallie Mosier is with us this morning and is going to bring us up to date on some of the work we've had regarding 31 Dutch Mill Road. And there is a resolution, Monroe Balancing Test Analysis, regarding the use of 31 Dutch Mill Road for Tompkins County offices, ID number 13886. Moved by Randy, second by Dan. And 31 Dutch Mill is a property that the county has acquired in recent months, and temporary location for some offices, and is factoring into part of our long-term plans and the balancing, not only the balancing test, but the balancing of operations as we look at the long-term construction projects and movement projects. But Holly, I won't steal any more of your thunder here.
That's all right. Thanks, Lee. I conducted the Monroe Balancing Test, which is an analysis of basically, well, it's the 9 factors. It's an analysis of the 9 factors that you see here in the report. And it's to determine essentially whether the county is immune from the local zoning regulations, which here is the town of Lansing. And the balancing analysis has to do with public interest of either the zoning regulations or the county having the immunity. This was a fairly easy one to do. The current zoning in the town of Lansing for that particular property is industrial, which does permit professional and business offices, but it doesn't specifically permit government offices. So our use of it, the county's use for county offices, Office for the Aging, and the Department of Assessment, pretty much align substantially with the zoning regulations there. Our government offices are very similar to the professional and business offices that are permitted under the zoning there. The company that was in this property was an IT company. So they were using it for offices, just very similar to how the county would be using it. The other factor to consider is any negative impact on either the environment or the other businesses and properties in that area. We made a determination that there isn't any negative impact on the environment that it is different from the zoning that's in place there, and it wouldn't have any negative impact on the other businesses in that area. For those who don't know, this is essentially the road and business park that includes UPS and a few other companies. The other positive when you're talking about public interest is the access that our public will have to these offices. Right now, as you know, the offices are downtown. It's never fun for anyone to park downtown and have to get to the Department of Assessment or to the Office for the Aging, especially for the older population. This particular property has ample parking. You can park right outside the door. It's all one level. So it'll make it very easy for the public to access these offices. So really the factors all favor in the public interest in this particular analysis. So we found that, that the county should be immune from the local zoning regulations, as I just stated.
Are you expecting any pushback from the town of Lansing, or are we okay with these purposes?
Yeah, typically, and I can say that I haven't personally heard anything from the town of Lansing.
I can't imagine that there is. But.
Right. I wouldn't expect any. As I said, it's not like we're looking to use this property in some substantially different way that would affect the other businesses in the area or the environment in that area. So I really don't expect there to be any disagreement.
Further questions? If not, shall we vote on the resolution? Resolved on the recommendation of Facilities and Infrastructure Committee that the Tompkins County Legislature concludes this action is not subject to local zoning for the reasons summarized. All in favor? Are there any opposed? Motion carries. Thanks,
if I could just have one more second. I wanted to introduce our fairly new associate, Adina Boateng. She's been here for just a little over 2 months now, and she's going to be the representative from our office that will be covering this committee going forward. So I just wanted to introduce her. You'll see her here in March and thereafter.
Thank you for that introduction, Holly. Adina, welcome, and look forward to having you here at the table with us. Let's move on. County Highway Department, Nick Ensign and Company. We have a number of information items, and this is one thing we always look forward to seeing is the work plan for the coming year and some of the major projects that Highway will be engaging with. I'll let you introduce your staff to the committee.
To my left here, Kelly Chapman, she's one of our project managers, and to the right, Luke Hatch, he's the deputy director.
Nick was appointed just a few months ago, and Luke's been brought on as his deputy, and they're picking up where we've left off on a lot of things in the previous year.
Yeah, and we've got, it's a busy time of year for us. We just finished up our material and services bid. It's getting ready to be published hopefully tomorrow for a lot of our asphalts and liquid asphalts and gravels and aggregates for coming season. What else we got going on? Weather's interesting. Salt is a whole nother interesting conversation, but I don't know if we need to get in that one today. But we have our capital projects report. In the matter of time, unless somebody has a question, we really don't. Most of these are the same. A lot of them are sitting in the DOT's hands. We just started actually 2 weeks ago having monthly meetings with our New York State DOT liaison on our projects, trying to push them forward and make things move as fast as they can. But currently, a lot of them are, as you can see, still in the DOT's hands. Some environmental, some design. One of the newer things we have is our project at Cortlandt Street. We've been in conversation with the Groton Utility Department. Finally got an estimate from them. We've talked to finance. We were talking with contracts, trying to figure out just how we hire and pay a local municipality to do on their own stuff. it's kind of a creative one, but it sounds like everything is, we're getting closer. We've resubmitted we've got a more official quote, or we're working on it from Mike at the electric department. We're talking with Jesse and the contract, trying to get that figured out. So it's getting closer. Still have to talk to the lumber yard there. Baker Miller. We need to have a little discussion with them because there's a pole in the way, and Mike has some creative ideas how we could kind of get that out of the way forever. But we've kind of got to get their approval on our idea of providing power over to his business. So that's kind of everything's still in the works, but on the DOT side, it's...
Let me jump in here for a second, just for the committee's education. The Village of Groton has its own municipal electric system, and it's the other utility in the county beyond NYSEG. And the project that Nick is outlining for us is a bridge replacement on a pretty old structure, and it's a substantial project, but it's going to require movement of quite a bit of key infrastructure in that electric system in order to open for the easements where the project will take place. So the poles that he's talking about and the connections are in an area that's not only sensitive to the electric system, but it's sensitive as well to the project itself. So there's some intermunicipal cooperation that's going on. And after the other night, I just wanted you to know that there are other utilities beyond the one that was here with us. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I did want to outline that for the committee.
And just so everyone knows, generally, we don't have to deal with this because they're privately owned, and there's New York State highway law that they have to move it out of the way. So NYSEG, Verizon, Spectrum, all those companies, if there's something in the way, they have to move it on their dime. This one, because it's municipal, is a little bit more, creative, but we're working our way through it.
No, I appreciate the cooperation.
I think it'll all come together, and this is it's been sitting on New York State DOT's desk since September 22nd on design. We're still waiting on comments there. So the electric is not holding the project up currently, the relocation of it. So, and it doesn't look like it will. The rest of these are pretty plain, not a whole lot of movement. If anybody has any particular questions on those, we can ask. I guess before I move on, does anybody have any questions on any of the capital projects that are sitting?
Randy.
I had to drive over the Podunk Bridge that you've been working on for how many years now? It's on a curve, so is the plan to straighten that out a little bit?
Yes, the preliminary design is to straighten that.
Okay, and then I saw that you're being required to sell the bridge or try to sell the bridge. Is that a new type of thing, or is that going to be a challenge? Or
it's not really new. They deemed it, I guess you'd call it partially historical. A lot of us feel it's not really historical, but someone in New York State feels it is. It's like right on the cusp. So in that matter, we have to try to advertise it to see if somebody wants to purchase the bridge, remove it, and put it back together to its original, pretty much resurrect this bridge somewhere else, but they have to keep it as a bridge. And it's one of the DOT requirements that it's another attempt to keep it somewheres. Right. So it's caused a very large delay in that project.
Yep.
Currently, it was re-inspected 3 months ago-ish, 4 maybe. We had to lower the weight limit on it again. The next weight limit lowering will close the bridge. So we're getting closer. Hopefully get some movement.
Remind me, Nick, you gave a little presentation during the budget period. Number of bridges that fall under your purview are about 110 Is that the right
10
number?
or 12 without it in front of me. That's one I don't remember.
The number of?
109.
109. I wasn't too far off, okay. And then the number?
We used to say 110, but we had one bridge that closed in a recreational zone, so that now we're down to 109.
And the number of miles of road that you're covering is about 302?
302 center lane miles.
Can't remember anything else from this morning, but I got those numbers. But to give you an idea of the work plan that he's got in front of us and how he's balancing, how the department is balancing these is just for the committee's information.
Okay. No, oh.
I have to say I'm impressed by the scope of these bridges. They all look so different from each other. Some of them in the scope, they say what share is paid for by federal or state dollars and what share is local funding. Some don't say that. Does that mean that we have to fully cover the cost of the bridge, of the projects that don't have that information? And then also, if we're talking about historical bridges, the Falls Road Bridge looks like the obviously most historical in this list. Are we supposed to sell that bridge too?
That one would be creative to try and sell for sure. No, that one actually is going to be a lot of the, I would say the architect of that is going to try to be captured in the new one to try to replicate it as best we can to make it look that way. But historically, that one was not deemed historical.
Yeah, and that one's more of a stone bridge, where Podunk is metal. So that's the main difference on deconstructing and reconstructing in a different location. For Falls Road, we just got that last year, so that one's really in the preliminary design. But we are going to try to reutilize a lot of the facing stones, things like that, maybe not on the bridge, just because they eventually deteriorate and fall off, and so it won't but we were trying to use them. We've been very closely working with the New York State Parks Department. We brought them in very early on since it's surrounded by the park, and so we're going to try to reutilize some of the stones for that, and the DOT was very happy that we were utilizing that. So,
and as for the funding, none of these are fully local.
no, none of these are fully local. All of these have a local versus federal share. I can put that in. It's something that
We could get that too.
yeah, definitely. It's either 80-20, sometimes it's 95-15, it's that kind of a mix.
And just to recap, one of the most recent ones on here is the Caroline Depot culvert. That is a WQIP, which is a water quality improvement grant we received from DC. This is super early stages. We received a letter stating that we've been awarded, but it has to go to, the DC has to go to the state comptroller's office to get approval of everything. And once they get approval from there, then we will receive the official agreement, and then we can move forward on design and construction. Just wanted to let everybody know that we received it, and it will be happening. All right, on to pavement condition index, PCI. So that's a score that's given to our pavement, our roadways. We do this every year. Currently, we're using a program that is free from Cornell Local Roads. One of the issues with the program is it's all based on kind of someone's personal view. So we try to keep the same people doing it every year. Like this year, Kelly and Shannon's another one of our project managers did it, which was a project manager that left. One thing that we're looking into is there's a company out there that uses a lot of AI technology to turn this into more of a digital score that takes the human error out and it puts it back onto computers. We're still kind of investigating it right now. We saw it at a conference, but it looks like we've met with them, and with the size of our county, they would want to outfit 20 to 25 of our vehicles with these sensors. There are 4 different sensors that go on there. It's a radar, LiDAR. It's pretty advanced. It's advanced enough that it's shooting something down to be able to tell if it's an alligator crack in the road or is it a shadow. with all that and all the technology, it'll give us a very accurate PCI score that is live to that day when you pull that data. So every time you go plow a road, haul a load of gravel, drive one of our pickups, these sensors would be on 20 to 25 of our different vehicles, and it collects data every time it leaves the barn. And then it uses the AI to capture the data and turn it into different reports and graphs. But it's a really cool for projecting out a 10-year capital plan. You put your own budget numbers in there for like what we just got on our bid. That will update the numbers and the costs of the next, process. It recommends from micro paving to crack sealing to full depth pavements. It's really cool. I'm kind of psyched about it. I thought it was about 30 grand, 60 grand per year. So that kind of wound me up a little to dig in just a little bit deeper, but Geneseo County is signing up right now. Greene County's already doing it, and then there's a couple towns that were ahead of the counties. So we're still reaching out to some of those to get a little bit of background to see just how, is it as great as they seem? But yes.
How many trucks did you say would be fitted?
20 to 25
Wow,
is
a
what
lot
they
of them.
tell us. The other part was we kind of asked the question, well, plowing snow or dropping a plow or having a loaded dump truck changes how everything's going to ride and feel. And that's where the AI comes in and it kicks out the anomalies. So if you were towing a trailer one day and, are driving a pickup for 5 days in a row and day 6 you put a trailer on it, that sensor is going to be different. It throws out that data.
You mentioned plowing snow. You guys get your trucks really dirty sometimes. You got to clean the sensor. These sensors presumably are going to need to be cleaned.
Yes, and corrosion and snow and ice. So we're definitely, that's a few of the things we're reaching out to with the other counties that have been doing it a little bit. How's that going?
Yeah. Is this the kind of thing that you can take off during snow so it doesn't get all the salt and corrosion and put back on in the spring?
They're saying they don't remove it, but they're starting, before they never had a way that they could kind of shut it off. It just captured all the time.
Well, I'm not thinking data. I'm thinking it's protection of the equipment, prolong the life.
They're not too concerned because it's all theirs.
Oh.
The whole thing is you don't own any of that equipment. When it breaks, they come down and redo it. They install it all. So somewhere's in there, we've got to keep, there'll be some more to it, but it's in the preliminary right now.
What is the name of the software?
Whoa.
It's RMT. It's road. Go by RMT.
We can send you that.
It's like Roadmasters Technology, I believe.
But that's something we could send you along with some of our conversations before when you came over about some of the chemicals for de-icing that we use. We gathered some information on that, and I think it's be a little different than what you were finding that day. I think you'll like a little bit more of what you see. But yeah, so back to the PCI, we're not looking bad. We do this every fall. In the spring, last year we had a hard winter. This one seems so far not awful, but this is consistent with what we've done in the past, so it's the best way currently to do it.
Is that a scale of 0 to 100?
Yes. Yep.
Questions?
PCI questions? All right. On to our draft paving map. These are our larger paving projects. Luke and myself are currently going through them right now, getting them ready to get sent out to our paving contractors. We're hoping if we can get everything out the door this month, by mid-March we'll be getting those back, and that'll give us a good feel of where that is landing for the season. Generally, there's more on our map than we can afford to do. This year, I think we'll lack a few of these, but, depending on budgets.
Hard to think about paving when you're still opening the roads up with snow.
It is, and then you drive around and you're like, whoa, where'd that pothole come from? Wow. So luckily we don't, I'm gonna knock on wood right here, that nothing completely blows apart. So far, we're looking pretty decent this winter. So our plan should be able to stay close to what we have right now.
Not a county question per se, but you may know this because it's paving related. I hear DOT is doing 13 between the airport and the village of Dryden. Do you know anything about it? It's pretty bad.
I know it's happening. I don't know if it's gone to bid yet, but it's from city line to, I think it was publicized as Irish settlement. So there's still
Yeah, yeah. See, what happened several years ago, they ran out of time with the weather. Okay. And the worst part, the absolute washboard part of that is east of where you just described.
To the village line.
Yeah, literally between Johnson Road and the Veterans Memorial Home is just awful.
I would be amazed.
I know it's not you.
I would be amazed if they didn't go that next 1 mile.
I can say Mike Lane did make a comment during our NPO meeting to DOT about it, but his final comment was, well, you know, from Irish settlement to the village line is pretty bad. So he did throw that out as his last little statement.
Randy?
Yes, once you finalize the paving plan, do you share that with each town highway department? How does that work?
Yeah, normally we have this actually on our website by now, but I've kind of held off because I wanted to present this to you guys first. You're the first step. This is our plan. We'd rather you hear it from us and not click on our website. But yeah, this will become public. It'll go on the website. We do talk with different towns and municipalities throughout the winter about this because they have some water lines and different concerns. But this will be going out, and then with our new bid will be going out. So they're both going to be on there. All the towns will be looking at that.
Great, thank you.
So yes, it's very well shared.
Thank you.
And then last on my list, chip seal, same sort of thing. This is a very solid list. Because some of these are recoats from 5 years ago. Try to do it every 5 years as a pavement preservation. And then other ones are the first coat because of, we paved them last year. And this will start generally around May 1st. This year we're at 43 miles. So that's, with good weather, 2 weeks of work. And we do put out, last year we started doing that. We've been doing a lot of the sirens for the road work. We're actually involved, and we did chip seal sirens. So we said, hey, tomorrow the county will be on such and such road. I don't think we received any phone calls from people complaining about traffic or being delayed, so it worked awesome. We're going to do it again this year.
Questions for Nick? Yeah, Dan?
I'm sorry if I missed this. You don't do this yourself. You contract this out, all right? Who does that, Sudcoat?
Suco and Vestal Asphalt are really the only two around, and the way our bid landed this year, it'll be Vestal Asphalt. We handle all the traffic. We haul all the stone with some local town share. They help us as we move around the county. We grab some trucks as we go around. Everybody kind of helps us. But this process requires about everybody at the highway department for that 2 weeks.
Oh, you're doing all this in a 2-week period?
Yes. We start right around Ulysses, work our way all around, and usually end in Lansing. How we plan it every year. So as long as it's not raining out, we're chip sealing. Okay, and the rest of this is just all informational reimbursements from some engineering costs in our capital projects.
And you'll see these typically budget adjustments and transfers, including the agenda for committee members' information.
Yeah, a lot of I thought I had those with me, but most of all the transfers were end of the year because we didn't have a January meeting. They got pushed to this one. They were just taken from one line, putting in another, equal and balancing out the budget.
Okay. Thank you.
All righty. Thank you. We'll see everybody next month.
We've got a couple of couple more items on the agenda, and kind of a time check again. I have to step out and head toward an important appointment, so I'm going to ask Dan to take over in a couple of minutes, our newly appointed vice chair.
Okay.
But as far as downtown facilities and committee goals, I'd really like to postpone those to the next meeting when we've got Corsa here with us and some more information that can be generated. And I'll ask Arel, did you have anything specific to facilities you wanted to add today?
Not really, unless anybody, if there was a comment in the public session about the library that we recorded earlier.
I have one comment.
Okay. Randy?
Yeah, I did notice on county administration's priority list that the library wasn't on there as far as doing the work around the library. So if you'd share that with Corsa, I think that should be a priority. I know you mentioned it when you were up here, but I'd like to see the plan for that and what your timing is of that. The pictures, obviously, the pictures made it look even worse. You know, if you saw these pictures, I'll give them to you. It just looks awful what the library looks like. So I'd like to make sure that is pushed up as quickly as possible, and maybe just start with a cleaning, which might be cheaper than or quicker than doing the whole painting, and maybe a quick painting job, because if you do the mural, that's going to take months to figure that out, right? So I just like to see something happen there.
Yeah, nothing is quick in government sometimes, but we've been actually talking to the library, the previous director, about doing this. Now that Emerson, he goes by M, is on board, we scheduled a meeting to meet with him. It was supposed to be today, but then he changed it last minute to yesterday. We had already set up to walk through with our engineering and architectural consultant to look at that. They looked at it late last fall on structural, some rust on those columns that we wanted to incorporate. And so this is going to be really a total exterior, I'll call it a facelift. We're looking at the IFAS that drive it, the brick repointing, the brickwork, the awnings, the structural steel, the concrete bases and piers, the sidewalks, especially around the backside. And then there's a kind of a canopy on the east side facing the apartments that we want to redo. So it's pretty involved. So just to put in context, back in 2000 when we moved into the library, at the time the legislature felt that the county was spending a lot of money to do the renovation. It was basically a total gut of the old Woolworths building. We spent $9.4 million, which is about $18 million now in costs, just to put it in perspective. So we did spend a lot of money, and the legislature in those early years didn't want to invest any more money in the library. Many of those all of those legislators are no longer here, but this is something that we feel we need to do. And it bothers me just as much as this public person, because I go to Whole Health a lot. And I'm at that corner on Cayuga and Green, and I'm just looking at that. And so this has been some time in the works to do this. And so we had a planning meeting on site yesterday with our Tetra Tech, and we're going to have another meeting next week. We were going to do a detailed walkthrough, but it was raining. And so we're going to reschedule at least the walkthrough for next week. And Emerson will be attending with us. He didn't have any other issues except that. Everything on the inside, staffing, maintenance on the inside, he was very pleased with. He also indicated that he can probably tap into some grant funding to help for some of this, but also there's grant funding for a mural. So we said, that's great. So he was going to point out possible areas where he might want to see a mural, but that's not going to hold us up in what we're doing. Okay. We'll either prep the wall and then they can put the mural there. So we're pretty excited. I'm going to be meeting with him bi-monthly to update him on all sorts of things, not just this, but library operations. So I think it was a great meeting.
Some benches there look pretty beat too.
Yeah. So we'll either replace or redo or sandblast and repaint.
Okay, great, thanks.
Errol, the obvious stuff is the stuff we see. How's the roof?
The roof is in great shape. We actually talked about the roof because that's in our It's not in this year's plan, but it is next year or the year after. We don't have any leaks with the roofs. The only leaks we've had been in the youth services, but it was getting in through the rooftop units that we replaced. But the roof itself was almost a 30-year warranty roof. It was very expensive because they wanted a design, but at the time when the library was built, there were no buildings around it. And so why would you want to look at some fancy design on the roof? When we replace it, we're not going to do that type of system. We'll do a fully adhered either PVC or membrane roof. But that's for either next year or the following year.
Dan, that is in the 5-year capital plan to be done in the next couple of years.
Thank you, Randy.
Thanks, Surreal.
All right.
Thanks for jumping in there. As I get ready to move, I had the opportunity to visit last week with our new director briefly, the Ithaca Tompkins Transportation Council, ITCTC. It's I stumble over that one every time, but I want to introduce you all to Tom Knight. And Tom has been involved with our organization for years in other capacities, and returning with us, and welcome. And I'll let you give a little intro and
I appreciate that. I'll be brief. I know you're past your scheduled end time, but happy to come back and chat with the committee anytime about our work products. I'm not going to go in depth on those today, but Mike Lane invited me when I first started in September and schedules didn't align. Very happy to just have a chance to meet the committee and share a little bit about what our purpose is, what our function is. As you know, and as you said, I previously worked for the county. I was the director of the county tourism program with the Department of Planning and Sustainability, and then went to the city to do economic development for 8 years. Very happy to be back with the county and reconnect with my former county colleagues. We are, by the way, you're not the only one, Lee. The ITCTC doesn't roll off the tongue, so you're welcome. Please join me in using Transportation Council. There's no other transportation council locally. You wouldn't think it'd be that hard, right? Ithaca, Tompkins County Transportation Council, but everybody has the same problem. So, you know, Transportation Council is just fine. We are your MPO for the urbanized area. What's an MPO? A Metropolitan Planning Organization. We are, you know, an outgrowth of federal statute as it relates to transportation funding. Our main roles are to supervise expenditure of federal transportation funding, surplus funding for infrastructure projects, and provide technical assistance and planning. Important for you all to know, we are a hosted agency. What that means is I'm not a county department head. I report to the policy committee of the Transportation Council. Policy committee, John Hunt is on the policy committee. We met on Tuesday to adopt the work plan for the year. Our year is April 1 through March 31. So we have to do a bit of a dance. So a lot of what you'll see me here for is administrative reporting, getting budgets lined up, et cetera. There's an administrative item on your agenda today. And so that's the kind of thing we primarily come and speak with the committee about. But as our communities lead on long-range transportation planning and alignment of the community's vision to investment of federal transportation dollars, very happy to come and speak with you as often as you'd like and engage with you. We also have a planning committee. The basic structure is the planning committee is professional staff. Katie Borgella is the vice chair of our planning committee. We have a very active and engaged group. They meet on the months that the policy committee doesn't meet. They develop recommendations, more or less, that they bring to the policy committee. And the policy committee members, we have 7 members, they are basically the top elected officials for the 7 the municipalities within the urbanized area. So that's a little bit about our raison d'etre. Our core work products are the 20-year long-range transportation plan. That's updated every 5 years. Our next update will be in 2029. The TIP, or Transportation Improvement Plan, is our 5-year federal expenditure plan. for surface transportation projects. We update that every 2 or 3 years. I was listening to Nick and Kelly and others. We have 4 county bridge projects on the tip, on the current tip. And then we put together an annual work program. As I said, we just adopted our annual work program on Tuesday. What we are not, although many people think we are not transit operations. We are not local, county, or state road maintenance or management. And we don't do local, county, state work scheduling and contracts. So once the federal funding is granted, project implementation and management is a local responsibility through those locally administered federal aid projects. I had set out to tell you what I've been up to since September. I'm not going to do that today other than to say we did conduct a very comprehensive organizational assessment that included a SWOT analysis, interviews with over 50 stakeholders, including all of our members, local transportation service providers, really to try to understand what our internal strengths and weaknesses are as an agency and what the opportunities and threats externally are for us. That then has informed a strategic framework moving forward for our work that's embedded within our annual work program. I'll just highlight one thing, and you'll probably see us come back for this at some point. We're making a pretty significant change in our staffing structure. All of our funding, I didn't say this yet, all of our funding is federal funding. We do receive in-kind support from the county. We're co-located with Planning and Sustainability right here in this building, and we receive other types of administrative support on an in-kind basis. But all of our funding for our operations comes through the Federal Highway Administration and Federal Transit Agency. And but to support those operations, we have a central staff. I'm the director. We also have a transportation analyst. And historically, we've had a third FTE, which is an administrative assistant. And we're going to be assuming some of those administrative roles, including financial administration, in some different ways. We're having very good talks with the county finance director about receiving some support for which we'll pay the county for our financial administration. And then that opens up the possibilities to hire a full-time transportation planner. When I went around and talked to people around the community about what they'd like us to do, there was strong interest in us increasing our capacities, support our members, which are the municipalities and transportation service providers in Tompkins County, with more project support and planning support. So we're very excited about that. And I'll stop there and answer any questions that you have. Actually, one more thing. The federal transportation bill ends September 30th, the IIJA. So one of the things we do is really try to understand what's happening at the federal level with transportation policy and funding. There has been a bipartisan bill introduced, and we're following what that looks like. But that's something that we'll all want to keep our eyes on, is what's the next federal transportation bill going to look like? So far, no major threats in terms of our existence and the work that we do are out there that we've heard. And we do belong to a national organization, AMPO, the Association of Metropolitan Planning Organizations. There's over 400 MPOs across the country. And they keep us up to date on federal policy. So happy to discuss that or any of our core work products or anything else that we're working on with you in the future. And really grateful for the opportunity to meet you and answer any questions you have now about what we're up to.
Thank you, Tom. Questions from the legislature? I've got a couple I'll quick fire at you there. I see you've got member jurisdictions, 10. That's presumably all the local municipalities, right?
Right.
And I had a question about your membership. You mentioned presumably you've got a representative from each of the jurisdictions. And you also mentioned that you have, I forget what you called it, but that would lead me to think that you had maybe a TCAT member on your in your organization. Is this all true?
I'm going to answer your question in detail, providing you remember.
Oh, hey, look at that. Thank you. Fantastic. Oh, look at this. All right. Another question, a quick question I had is I see your funds are 20 mil, and I don't need this answer now because I expect I'll be seeing you again, and I want to be brief here because we're over. But I'd be interested to know what exactly those projects are that the 20 million is going to. But again, I don't need that now, but at some point.
I have it now.
Look at this.
Yeah, these are the questions I anticipated. I'll pass out the project list for our tip, and after the meeting, I'll send you a few links, including to our 26 through 2030 tip or our transportation improvement plan. That has all the projects listed, and again, every 2 or 3 years, we do a call for projects. We evaluate, how well those projects align to the community's vision and our long-range plan, and then we make selections. The contracts themselves are with state DOT, but we do the decisioning. So I'll pass this out to Dan.
Great.
And just to clarify, our agency is quite a small and nimble agency. We receive this year was about $370,000 in federal highway funding and $50,000 in federal transit money. We're also allowed to carry over our funds. When you see our budget adjustments, there'll be opportunity to explain our budget more, but our operational budget is usually more in the range of, around $450-ish thousand. That 20 million is, direct to projects.
Yeah. Okay.
And I'll pass this out.
That's all I have unless somebody has something else. Great. Thank you.
Thank you. Happy to stay for the resolution if needed.
Yep. Well, that's where I'm going to go next here. And for the committee members and others here, I am going to see about being efficient here. And if there's anything that can be pushed, I'll go ahead and push that because of time. But if we do want to make sure we cover what has to be covered.
John Hunt, I have a 12:45 soil and water meeting.
I have to leave at 12:35.
And we are in, all right, so let's see if we can cruise through this in 10 minutes. 10 minutes. Thank you. Yeah. All right, so well, that's exactly my thought here. We have a resolution here for setting the compensation of the Ithaca Tompkins Consolidated Transportation Council Director for January 1, 26 through December 31, 2030, ID 13798. Give a motion. Thank you, Randy. Randy moves. John seconds. Let me find it here in my paperwork. Is there any discussion?
Like, this is fairly routine. We've done this every year I've been here, so.
Okay, yeah. There is, I saw it here a moment ago. Just for the record here, it's looks like an incumbent staff standard increase of 3%, and it lists the rates here, so. All right, well, no discussion. Those in favor? Oh, actually, Taylor, can we do this? Because.
Yes, you're fine.
Okay. Yeah, just all those in favor? We've got 4. Lee is not here. Any opposed? Any abstain? Okay, that goes. All right, continuing here. That's that resolution. We have Department of Planning and Sustainability. That would be over here with Terry.
2 resolutions.
And we have 2 resolutions here. How does this work? Terry, do you want to open any opening remarks, or should I just jump into the resolutions?
Why don't you put the first resolution about the easement on the floor, and then Haley, my colleague who's online, can talk to it.
I'll move it.
You want to move it? Okay. Just reading it in, authorizing the county administrator to sign an easement with NYSEG for electrical vehicle charging infrastructure to support the installation of 2 fast chargers at the Ithaca Tompkins International Airport, ID 13868. We got a motion from Judith, second by Randy. Discussion.
Hi, everyone.
Discussion. This looks pretty straightforward to me.
Hi, everyone. I just wanted to highlight, sorry I'm not in person. I'm feeling a little under the weather. Okay. This is already an approved project. We are in a contract with GreenSpot. Upon going through that process, NYSEG said that they needed to update the transformer for this. And so that's why we need to get this resolution signed. It has to specifically say for an easement, which it does. One thing I will note is that we've been working with the attorney's office. We were hoping to get language updated for the easement to have it not be in perpetuity. And just while the chargers were active. However, NYSEG is saying they can't do that. And so I just wanted to kind of flag that as well. But for the purposes of this resolution, it basically authorizes the county administrator to sign it, but not saying that they will sign it. So we're still kind of doing that back end work.
So you're saying that the resolution, NYSEG needs this to be in perpetuity, but we don't want it that way? Is that what I just heard?
Yes.
Okay. And that needs to be figured out, and we're just authorizing them to negotiate this. Okay.
So yes. I will say, it is up to the legislature ultimately whether you are okay with it being in perpetuity or not. You know, we're advocating for it to not be, and we're trying to come to an agreement with NYSEG, and they're holding fast on that. So ultimately, if the attorney's office is okay with it being in perpetuity, then it would be up to the legislature to decide whether they're okay with that on their end or not.
All right, and that'll come back up for the full ledge.
This will be, if it is passed by this group right now, I'd assume it'll be on consent agenda. You may not want it to be on consent agenda to have that exact conversation.
Well, my point is, when whatever that's negotiated to be, if it stays whatever it is,
this would
it'll
give
be
the
written in.
No, that would not be coming back. This would give us the authorization to just move forward.
Okay, thank you.
If I voted against it now, but it still passed with 3 votes, it would not be on the consent agenda, but it would still, okay.
Correct.
I was going to pull 2. All right, any other discussion on this resolution? All right, let's vote. Those in favor? Thank you, Judith. Those opposed? It's 3-1.
Got it.
Okay. All right. That's that resolution. We have another resolution for an energy supply contract. Terry, do you want to say anything before, or should I just get this one on the table?
Why don't you get it on the table, and then I'll fly through this presentation very quickly.
Okay. So this resolution is Energy Supply Contract Resolution ID 13867. Any more? Randy? Second? Judith, thank you. Am I allowed to second if I'm leading this, Taylor? Oh, okay. All right. Anyway, there we go.
Yeah. So we had a long discussion over energy the other day. So some of this is repetitive, and I won't bore you with it. Essentially, as I think NYSEG went over, 2 basic parts to a bill: delivery and supply charges. Whereas NYSEG controls the delivery part, we are able to choose a supplier for both natural gas and electricity. Traditionally, the county has used MEGA, which was in part helped formed by Tompkins County. MEGA is the Municipal Electric and Gas Alliance. They go out to bid, or they basically allow you to piggyback on another municipality that has gone out to bid. In this case, I believe it's Genesee County or Greene County that went out to bid originally. The current contracts that MEGA holds are with Constellation and with Direct Energy, and then we subsequently do a contract with each of those to get our individual supply. We currently have a contract with Constellation Energy for electricity. We did have a natural gas contract with Direct Energy, now called NRG, and that expired in essentially the end of January. So we are currently without a contract for natural gas. As NYSEG indicated on Tuesday, energy markets, it's all about natural gas, and so there's a lot of macroeconomic and microeconomic reasons for what drive those prices. A lot of it is, as you'll see, this is all in your agenda packet, so feel free to go through it at some point and contact me for questions, but there's a lot of reasons for this. Forecasted demand, we were for a long time projecting a scenario where energy would stay relatively flat in terms of demand, and then all of a sudden electrification came online. We're starting to see the growth of AI, so we're predicting more and more larger forecasts of electricity demand, which is going to require more natural gas. In addition, we talked about summer peaking versus winter peaking. Electrification is driving the system to be towards more winter peaking than it has been, whereas it has been summer peaking for a long time. And this is projected to happen sometime, according to this is from the New York Independent System Operator, sometime around 2039. There's a lot of demand uncertainty, so those large loads that are coming on board, Micron, industrial manufacturing, high-tech manufacturing, data centers, cryptocurrency, a lot of them are joining the queue. It's unclear at this point how many will actually go to fruition, so it creates a lot of uncertainty about what exactly these large loads will look like in the future, and so that's creating uncertainty on gas prices into the future. In addition to this, we also have reserve margins declining. So the reserve margin is what's necessary, deemed by the New York Independent System Operator to guarantee that we'll have capacity to meet spikes in electricity usage. And so for a long time, we had a big margin, so we weren't in danger of brownouts or blackouts. Unfortunately, due to a lot of our fossil fuel infrastructure aging out and the closure of nuclear power plants, we are losing electricity generation at a much higher rate than we are putting in new generation. And so that leads to a decline in reserve margins, which means that electricity prices are going up. We talked about LNG exports with NYSEG, so LNG exports are increasing, so that's increasing the cost of electricity. And then you have the microeconomic trends, what's happening on a much shorter time frame. So Winter Storm Fern saw huge increases in electricity and natural gas prices, and we're seeing a lot of constraints in the system. So there's just not enough poles and pipes to carry the energy where it needs to be currently. So what does this mean for Tompkins County? So our current electricity contract is about 7.5 cents per kilowatt hour. What we're seeing in terms of contracts being offered to us right now is closer to 9.8, essentially, almost 10 cents per kilowatt hour. So that's going to be about a, call it a 30% increase in electricity supply costs for the county. The natural gas side is actually a much better picture for us because our previous contract was signed shortly after the war in Ukraine had started and prices jumped like crazy. And so our previous contract for natural gas had us at $6.75 per MMBTU. Our new offer, it looks like it's going to be closer to 4.9. And actually today I got an update and I'll show it to you on a later slide, $4.6 dollars per MMBTU, which is going to be a reduction for natural gas prices. Unfortunately for us, the county uses a lot more electricity than we use natural gas, and so it's not going to offset. It's not like we're going to stay even. We're going to end up paying more in utility costs because of this. So this is part of what I've been doing over the last couple months is monitoring the prices of electricity and natural gas and having conversations with consultants. And so you can kind of see this was, I think, it hasn't been updated in about a week, but we got this from Constellation, and it's showing us what the prices looked like from when we first contacted them to now. You can see prices increasing there. And similarly with natural gas, our first overtures were in early January, and the price was close to about $4.60. It went up due to Winter Storm Fern, and we're seeing it start to go down now. So what this resolution is asking for is to basically for you to give the county administrator authorization to sign contracts. And we're not specifying exactly what price those contracts are. These prices change on a daily basis. And so it's really difficult for us to come to you with a contract that's not going to be invalidated by the time it goes from committee to, the legislature meeting. By giving us this flexibility, we're able to find an opportune time to basically sign these contracts. So our current thinking when I did this was to look at a 12-month natural gas contract to cover our short-term liability, and then look for an additional longer contract when the pricing was more attractive. Pricing actually looks pretty attractive right now, so we might even just go with a straight-up 36-month contract as we've done in the past. For electric, it's a little bit less pressing because we have a contract that covers us through December, but I think our current concern is more along the lines of getting a natural gas contract in place sooner rather than later to cover us in case we have, a March winter surprise. that takes us back to sub-zero temperatures for a while. So that's the very short and quick version of this. It's a complex issue. Hopefully the memo that I provided answers some additional questions on that, but I'm happy to answer any questions and discuss more.
Randy.
Thanks for speed talking, Terry.
Yeah.
I'll support this, obviously. I will note that our utility cost from 23 to 25 increased by 45%.
Yeah.
So based on the records that we have in our system, and it's going to continue to go up, as you stated. Not your fault, obviously, but I appreciate all the work you've done on this and more information. I wish that this is the punishment that we have for not having meetings in January.
Yeah, it is.
Because we fly through this stuff, and I had a lot more questions, but, you know, I actually sent an email to Soil and Water telling we would be late, so.
Thank you, Terry. I appreciate your expertise here. I trust you on this one. I too have questions. Real briefly, we're going to do you need now for the gas, the electric. You're not going to do now. Will come back up later, or is this resolution cover?
This resolution will cover it. Okay. We're probably looking, depending on how the prices look, we'll probably look to either do it now or wait until closer to May-ish. Is when I've seen the prices look good.
So let's cruise here, guys. Any other discussion before we vote? All right. Those in favor? Any opposed? Any abstained? We got it here. 4 votes.
Thank you.
All right. Any other comments, Terry? Speed spoke.
No, I'll just say, Randy, in the past you've asked for more of a detailed analysis on kind of how our past electricity usage and billing looks compared to where we are now to see in terms of savings. We've done a little bit of that analysis, and so that's something that will come to this committee at some point this year.
All right. Thank you, Terry. All right. Just wrapping things up here, I'm going to push the committee members' reports. I'm not going to push adjournment, but just note here that there are some information-only adjustments, budget adjustments and transfers that we should be looking at, guys. All right. Is there anything else that needs to be done in this meeting today? I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Judith, Randy second. Those in favor? Thank you.
Were you, how frustrated were you
together better
after the nice thing?
Yeah, we're dense.
I mean, it's like.